Welcome to Let's Talk, where four women gather once a week to talk about our shared experiences in the community. We encourage you to join in on the conversation. I'm Teena Love. Jade Harrell has the day off, and I am here now with two powerful ladies, Amber Clear and Amy Rivera. Hello, ladies.
Hey, Teena.
Hello.
And today we also have invited sexuality and relationship therapist De-Andrea Blaylock-Johnson to join in today's conversation because we are dedicating the whole entire 30 minutes on mental health. Welcome, De-Andrea.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, we're happy to have you. We're going to share signs of mental health concerns and practical self-care tips. But before we get started with that, I want to know what you guys are loving these days. You know, we always start the show off with what we're loving. So, Amy, what are you loving?
I'm loving this weather, actually. As soon as we are finished for the day, we're going to go bike riding and get a little exercise and get some fresh air and just kind of enjoy the day. So I'm loving us moving into the cooler weather, the cooler months.
Yes, absolutely. And Amber, what are you loving?
I am loving my partner. I know that sounds super cheesy, but he is an absolute partner in life, and I did not realize just how very blessed I am until I had been talking to several of my other friends. So I'm very, very happy that I have a complete partner, and he's pretty awesome.
Yes, that makes all the difference in the world. And speaking of partners and loving, of course, our sexuality expert here, De-Andrea Blaylock-Johnson, what are you loving?
I am loving a TV show, Lovecraft Country. I am loving the conversations that are coming from it. And I'm also reading the book. So that is what I'm definitely loving right now.
Great. And I'd say I'm loving family. Family and friends, and having that time together, I think is just so important, especially at a time like this. So, which really is a good segue into what we're going to be talking about, because there's a recent study that shows that 25% of Americans are experiencing depression, they're experiencing anxiety and stress, and it's on the increase due to the pandemic. So ladies, let's talk. I mean, how are you guys holding up right now these days? Amber, how are you holding up?
I think for me, honestly, I have to remember when to shut off because, and I mean shut off from online and from television, because in the rest of my life, like this is the most free time I've had in my entire life. So I'm trying to use that in a positive way, and it's helping me grow and to really stick to what I am actually like loving. However, if I get too stressed out, it's usually because I'm too involved in either social media or I'm too involved in watching the news. And it's not that I don't care about those things. It's that mentally, like, I just need a break sometimes.
Right. Absolutely. We have to know when enough is enough, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Amy, how are you holding up?
So I have to agree with Amber because I am addicted to working, and I'm a workaholic.
I completely understand that.
We have so much time on our hands than we normally would, and so I want to reinvent myself through wellness and mental health, and also reinvent my family. This is the time to get them caught up to really just focus on being healthy and stuff. So I like to take my time going outside, like I said earlier, riding a bike, just really moving and spending the time with my family like I normally wouldn't be able to do if I worked, which I would have in 2019, you know, constantly. So I have to unplug myself like Amber as well. So.
Yeah, I have to agree with both of you all. You know, when you see all of these images over and over, you know, you're hearing on the news and just, you know, all these things that are happening, it can sometimes wear on you. So we have to know when it's time to take a step back and just say, you know, wait a minute. So De-Andrea, what are you seeing professionally as an expert in this field? What is it that you're noticing that's contributing to the anxiety, stress that everybody is having? People are having?
One of the bigger things that I'm noticing is that a lot of people are having a harder time of separating their work time from their home time, because a lot of people, if they are blessed to still have a job, they're working from home. And so most people set up their homes to be a sanctuary. And when you bring work into that, it's hard to keep those things separate. So the workday bleeds into the evening, and there's just not as much separation. So one thing that I'm encouraging people to do is to reintroduce different rituals that they may have done to end their workday. I know for me, I think that I didn't understand the importance of driving home, how that was my ritual, that this is the end of the day, I can decompress and go home, and this is a separate space for separate activities. So I'm encouraging people to figure out ways to make that separation so that they can continue to use the rest of their home as a sanctuary or a safe space.
Okay. All right. And are you finding that people who have been diagnosed with anxiety and stress, do you see where it's getting worse? Is suicide also something that is also getting worse at this time? What are you noticing professionally with that?
Yeah, so I'm thinking about how depression is one of those things that it's definitely influenced by the chemicals in our brains, but also influenced by our outside, by our environment. And so with so much happening in our world today, all of those things, in addition to someone who may be predisposed to having anxiety and depression, it just all comes together and makes it a lot harder to deal regularly. And then also we're leading into the fall and winter, and we're going to have less sunlight. So a lot of people may experience seasonal affective disorder, or some people may call it the winter blues, but just not having that sunlight definitely influences our moods. And so it's something that I'm seeing within my practice, but I encourage people, if they know that these are their patterns, trying to figure out ways to support themselves through these harder times if they're, already in doing work with me.
Yes. I was looking at Michelle Obama this week. She did a rally about voting. I don't know if you guys had a chance to catch that, but there was a young lady. She was a senior in high school, and she was encouraging high schools to get involved, with voting and all of this. And even though they can't vote, but she was encouraging everybody to get involved. But she talked about how when the George Floyd situation happened and she saw what happened to George Floyd, she talked about when she actually saw that, she began to have a panic attack. She didn't know it, but this is a senior in high school. Her heart started racing. She said she started shaking, and she said she was thinking about, oh my gosh, what if this were to happen to my brother? What if this were to happen to me? And she said, and after it took place, she thought to herself, I just had a panic attack. I just had my first panic attack. And so I'm just starting to think, a lot of people may be experiencing this. It was really an eye-opener to see a senior in high school saying how that impacted her. And this is why I think, anxiety and stress and all of this is playing such an ugly, part in what's happening. Mm-hmm. Amber and Amy, anything you guys want?
I can personally understand that story, and I did see that as well.
Did you see that, Gabby?
I did. And someone who is pretty exposed to anxiety already and the depression and things, during this 2020, this shutdown, I've lost a lot of weight, because when I experience anxiety and depression, I don't eat, and I'm not healthy, and I can't eat. So I'm starting to experience these panic attacks when I see things on social media and the news. So now, like Amber had said, I have to pull away and focus on my health again, because I like to think I'm a pretty happy person. And now I'm starting to feel all these negative feelings from our environment. And when I saw that, when she experienced a panic attack, I thought, we've got to do something to change this, because if she's experiencing, then I know that's what I'm experiencing. How many other people out there are not speaking about it and experiencing it? So,
yes, or maybe don't even know that's what they're having. They could think they're having a heart attack or something.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think for me, I have so much change in my schedule. I'm eating differently because of that change. My normal routine has been disrupted. And I think for the general public, that's something that also induces a lot of stress, because at the end of the day, we are just sacks of science, and what you put in your body has a big impact. Now, for me, I know the warning signs of like, hey, I need to pull away, or I need to eat something that's different, or take a vitamin, or I need to go exercise and get some endorphins, or do something that makes me feel like I'm making a difference, whether it's volunteering somewhere. But I think that the disruption in everybody's schedules and the uncertainty that we're facing has a huge impact. And I think that we need to try to continue to bring hope to each other, that things are going to get better.
Right. The uncertainty, I've found for myself personally, just knowing that there's this invisible enemy that's roaming around, the pandemic, coronavirus. You can't see it. You don't know where it is. All you hear is what's already happened. You can't guard yourself from it, and so it's stressful just to think about the fact that, oh my gosh, can I get this? Will I get this? All of that. It's all just so very stressful. De-Andrea, do you hear people saying that too in your field when they're coming and talking to you, perhaps in your practice?
Absolutely. I know that specifically with anxiety, a lot of it has to deal with not being able to control the things that you can't control. And that makes it very challenging to navigate in the world, especially with everything that's going on, because there are so many things that we can't control. And then add a pandemic on top of that, right? And so really...
And kids out of school, and job changes. Because the pandemic is one thing, like getting sick, that's a whole terrifying thing. But then you throw on all of the changes on top of that. Are you seeing, I have a random question, are you seeing younger and younger patients?
So my practice is primarily for adults. So I see folks between the ages of 19 and right now about 60. So it's kind of all over the place, and most of my practice is for relationships. So I have a lot of couples who have come in because people are spending a lot of time together.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And they're noticing those different things within their relationships where they may have been distracted. But one thing that I have noticed, some of my couples who are already in treatment, their relationships have seemed to improve because they've had this captured time where they are able to actually practice and implement some of the things that we've been working on in therapy.
All right.
Yeah, the divorce rate has gone up since February.
Yeah. And so have my referrals.
Well, that's good for you. That's good for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, audience, stick around because we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation, particularly around self-care. And we'll talk about some, tips on how to take care of ourselves, especially in a time such as this. So stay tuned.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. Well, we're going to talk about self-care because self-care has never been more important, especially at a time such as this. Before the break, De-Andrea mentioned that couples are spending more and more time together and how, that could be causing problems or it could be good. So, De-Andrea, so what more can you share with us on this topic? And what are we seeing here with couples?
So it's interesting just to talk about self-care as it relates to people in relationships. I think a lot of times people underestimate the importance of dedicated time to devote to your relationship and dedicated time to devote to yourself. A lot of times when you're living with your partners, you may spend a lot of time together, especially if both of you are working remotely from home. So you're working together and then you might be eating meals together. But then on the flip side of that, you may be in the same room or in the same space, but not necessarily spending quality time together. All of your time is devoted in front of a screen or just kind of mindless activities.
Or you find out that your partner is the person at the office that's like the what if person or the annoying questions at the end of every video conference that you're like, oh my God, he's that person.
It's like, how did I get in a relationship with this person?
And I think everybody has a different work persona versus like their home life persona.
That's true.
So I know that I am particularly organized at work, but maybe not always as organized at home. And so I think that that's like a huge difference for me. But yeah, spending time noticing them so many more hours a day.
Yeah. It definitely has a strong impact on the relationship, whether it's positive or negative, right? And so spending that time, but it's not always quality time that's together. So that's definitely something I explore with my clients. In addition to making sure that you have quality time together, making sure that you have quality time apart. And with being in a relationship, maybe throwing a couple of kids or pets in there, you may not have as much time to devote to yourself. But even if it is taking 10 uninterrupted minutes to take a nice hot shower.
Oh, yeah.
Be quality time for yourself, just me time, right? It doesn't have to be an hours long bubble bath or, a super long walk in the park, although those things can be wonderful and I definitely support those. But the reality is that we don't always have that luxury. So it's important to make the time that we have quality, even though the quantity of the time may not be what we want it to be.
Are you having couples do like alternative date nights because there's nowhere to go? And if there is somewhere to go, you're worried about, hey, is this safe? Is this not safe? Because if I'm out in public with someone, and even if it's not a date with my partner, who I can typically read his social cues pretty well, if I'm on any kind of a friend date or anything, it's hard for me because from here to here, their face is covered. So it's how do we pick up more on social cues, and what are we doing for alternative date nights?
Yeah, so with alternative date nights, there are a lot of different things that you can do that may that you may have done before, but maybe have not been as intentional with them. So for example, it could be picking a recipe and cooking that together. Although you may normally cook with your partner, or one partner cooks dinner and the other partner just enjoys eating, but like making some of the different things that we do more intentional, that definitely provide an opportunity to relate purposefully with your partner. Other things could include a picnic in the backyard or even a picnic in the park. I know a lot of people go to and we're lucky in our area to have great parks where people can be social distanced. And so definitely those types of things. Also taking walks together, specifically in your neighborhood, or not in your neighborhood, but still like you're able to be distant from other people and just close to the folks that you're sharing journeys with anyway.
For sure.
Yes. One thing I want to do before we go also is to talk about those that maybe don't have a significant other. How can they take care of themselves? I know for me, meditation is very important. There are a few meditation apps that I absolutely love. There's an Abide app. Where you can listen to it and it just kind of helps you sit back and meditate and concentrate on breath and prayer and meditation. Are there any things that you do, Amy, that you can throw out there?
So I do meditate. I also start with in the mornings telling myself, okay, it's going to be a great day. You guys start that positive mindset, that positive self-talk to yourself. Because I think that helps, single or not, it helps everyone kind of put their best foot forward every day, even though it may feel like we are reliving the same day as yesterday right now. But if you put that mindset, think, okay, be appreciative, be thankful, even to your partners or to people, it helps change that negative vibe. And but meditation is one of the main things I do every day. I meditate at least 2 to 3 times a day.
Yes.
When I start to feel that anxiety, I sit down for a moment. I go outside quite a bit and I just meditate out there where there's wind and there's sun and I hear the birds. And it only takes me a few minutes and then I recollect myself. And then the anxiety it's down.
It's so really, really good. What about you, Amber?
So for me, I kind of check in not only with my partner, but it also reminds me of like the good in my day. So we do the 1, 2, 3 program. It's one thing that bothered me about the day, 2 things that I did that improved the world or my surroundings, and then 3 things that I'm appreciative of. So having that to discuss with someone else, like it helps me check in with him, but more importantly, it reminds me of all of the good stuff that happened throughout the day. So I get off my chest the one bad thing that may have happened that day, and you can only pick one. It can be like a collective thing, but you can only pick one. It helps focus on the positive, and it helps focus on the change that you're making in the world. And sometimes
I love that, Amber.
Yeah, thanks. Sometimes that change can simply be like, oh, I mowed the lawn and picked up dishes, and I made my world less chaotic or less clustered or cluttered. But it also like really, you have to dig deep. Like if you're at home all the time, like it's easy to be appreciative of the same 3 things. So you have to always have different things. So it really helps because my partner and I work different schedules, because with my comedy and my social media stuff, like I'm on the go all the time and we don't always have the same days off. We don't have time together. And that's just every day you have to check in with each other.
Yeah. All right. De-Andrea, is there anything you can offer us for people just in general who want to just kind of take care of themselves mentally through this?
Yeah. One thing I'm thinking about is mindfulness. I know some people may feel intimidated by the word meditation because they feel that meditation has to look a certain way when it doesn't.
Right.
I myself have to do like some type of moving meditation. When I'm on the elliptical, to me, that's
meditation.
Yes,
running is meditation. Yes.
Yeah. But with mindfulness, it's really about being focused in on the present moment. The trick that anxiety plays on us is that it has us living in 3 different realities. You're worried about the past and you're concerned about what may happen in the future, in addition to living right now. And that is exhausting. So what mindfulness does is that it helps you, it brings you back to what's happening right now. All there is what is right now. And so mindfulness gives you that opportunity just to hone in on the present. Although the past is there, the future may happen, but in focusing on what is right now, it helps you to deal with whatever it is that's in front of you.
All right. Yes. Because, I can just tell sometimes, throughout the day as I'm going about, and then suddenly it'll just hit me, all the things that maybe I have to do, or, things that I'm concerned about. And then before you know it, your heart's beating fast and you start to worry. And so that's when I'm like you, Amy, I meditate and just start to pray and really say some positive things to myself, and remember to breathe and remember the mindfulness, like you said, De-Andrea, and all of that. It's
Teena,
just so
have you tried doing the list method at all, where you list all the things that you're worried about and then like seeing them in print? Sometimes it makes them less
really,
impactful. And then you draw like an arrow and say like things that are helping you cope and things that you can do personally. And then if you can't do anything about that situation, you crumple it into a ball and you
yes,
throw it away.
throw it away. Can't do anything about it. Yes. It's like the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom for the difference. Yeah, so important. All right, well, thanks so much, De-Andrea, for being our expert guest and coming on. Are there any projects, or how can people hear more from you? How can they get in touch with you if they want more information?
So you can find me on my website, which is Sankofa Sex Therapy. That's Sankofa, S as in Sam, Ankofa, sextherapy.com. And I am on Instagram and Twitter at Sankofa Sex. I am currently working with some other amazing therapists in the St. Louis area to present a Sunday brunch series where we're talking about 4 different ways to enhance your relationships. And so I'm presenting about sexuality and spirituality and creating rituals for closeness.
Oh, yes. And I'll just have you know, you guys and audience, De-Andrea has been on my podcast, The Lover's Lounge, and she is one of the very top, well listened to episodes. Everybody enjoyed De-Andrea Blaylock-Johnson. So if you get a chance, tune into The Lover's Lounge and look up De-Andrea, because she has a lot to say on these episodes. All
Thank
right.
you.
Yes. And Amy and Amber, anything you guys would like to add before we leave?
Be patient and be kind. We're all in this together. And verbalize what you're going through, because someone else is going through it. So don't be afraid to share your experiences, your tips, or whatever it is you went through, because it could help somebody else.
Don't forget love. Y'all always say that.
Gotta love.
Yes, yes. So thanks so much, everybody, for looking at us. And you can catch new episodes every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Facebook. Make sure you comment. Let us know what you are talking about so you can join the conversation. Sitting in for Jade Harrell, I'm Teena Love. Goodbye.